Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Michi Makes Up. Today we're going to take a look at the new Westman Atelier Vital Press Skincare Face Powder. I already have my makeup done, complexion, eyeshadow. I will need some blush, bronzer, and lipstick, but I do want to demo the powder by using it to set under the eyes and all over the face. I will be using it in place of my regular loose powder, which is from Milk Makeup. The shade that I have is also translucent light. There's actually some pigment. You'll see in a moment here, the shade I picked up from Westman Atelier is called translucent, but truly it is white. I'll swatch it on my hand so you guys can see. I did that yesterday and posted it, or I guess by the time this video is up, I did it 2 days ago, and I did post it on TikTok and Instagram. For under the eyes, if you've been watching the channel, I do actually use something else. I use the Kosas Breezy Cloud Set. It's in the shade Breezy, and it's known as their Cloud Set here, which I love using a powder to press the product into. And this product was just launched last week. I did attend the session where Westman Atelier, talked about all the skincare benefits this product has, and I'm gonna use the website to help me kind of convey across like all the powerful ingredients it's packed with. This took several years to develop this product, so I have high hopes for it, and I know because of all the skincare benefits, I'm hoping with today's wear test, I can experience some of that and be able to show you guys or describe to you what that's all about. So the Vital Press Skincare is supercharged skincare actives micro-milled into setting powder form. Sweep away shine, set makeup, and protect skin's natural radiant dimension. The product does come in 5 shades. I picked up the one translucent, which is described as invisible and suitable for most complexions. But it also, the next shade up is called Pink Bubble. It's brightening for light to medium skin. And then it goes all the way to Cafe, which is described as sheer for deep complexion. Very curious how versatile these shades are. Looking at this translucent powder here and having swatched on my hand, I could see it giving, if you are too heavy-handed, perhaps it could give a white cast, but we're going to test it out actually on the face and see if that's the case. It doesn't really sound like it, but we'll know in a few minutes here. And then the ingredients to the pressed powder is vitamin C, which neutralizes free radicals, evens tone, and probiotic enhances skin's natural defense mechanisms. Quinoa side extract minimizes look of pores, re-texturizes skin. All right. So I do have lines under my eyes. It is also the place where lines are most likely to develop throughout the day or soonest in the day after I apply makeup. So I'm going to go in and use the other side of the powder where there's less color, and I'm just going to press. You can see some of the product on here, and then I'm going to press it under my eyes. So that's one application. I'm going to go on the other side. And let me swatch it for you too on the back of my hand. So that's Westman Atelier's product in translucent. And then I'm going to go into Cloud Set because I might as well do some comparisons in the shade Breezy. And I have that under my eyes typically. And this is not a pressed powder, but it is my typical loose setting powder that I use to set my makeup from Milk. And let's put that here. So let me get some more product from Milk. So in terms of shading, the one from Kosas is going to be probably closest to my skin tone. And then this may look lighter from Milk, translucent light, lighter than the Westman Atelier product, but when I look at it just like this, they really look about the same. And I think it just has to do with some extra product here that I could diffuse. All right, so with the product placed under the eyes, I don't feel like I need to go back in for a second application. It does, because it's translucent and reflective, I feel like it does have a brightening feature property to it anyway. I'm now going to take my trusted Sonia G Buffer Pro here, and we're going to swirl that onto the compact. And we're going to buff that all over the face. Let me come closer now that the product's all buffed into my face. I was very, very generous with the product. I did not hold back. I can see that the white cast I mentioned in the beginning, I don't think that's much of an issue. Although I do not think this translucent shade would be suitable for medium deep skin tones. I think it is for light to medium and fair skin tones, I would say. Because, I mean, again, I was very generous with it. You could obviously do a lighter hand, but I do like setting my makeup, like really not feel much tackiness after I apply the powder. So that's my recommendation there in terms of like shading, if you're just waiting to see more demonstrations of like what it looks like. But yeah, I don't have any white cast concerns. I feel like it did initially look like it helped blur my complexion. And there is a bit of it's a natural skin-like, also a bit of mattifying finish. My hopes for this is that it works just as well as my Milk Loose Setting Powder, but perhaps I'm able to experience some of those, you know, awesome skincare effects that the product description has on the website. And next part, I'm going to just put on some blush mascara and a lipstick. Then we'll come back for like maybe a final look before we get into the first check-in. For blush, I'm going to use Chanel's Le Beige Eau de Blush. This is finally coming out for, I think North America, but definitely the States very, very soon here. I will be probably picking up another, I have 2 shades. I'll probably be picking up another shade and do kind of like a renewed video for you guys. But since we're here anyways, I did want to demonstrate. So like the water tint foundation, it's just very, very light, very cooling. It's meant to give you a glow from within complexion, or I should say glow from within flush. And you don't need a lot. I just did 1 light pump. And while it looks like a lot of product, you're meant to really spread it out. And the reason why I wanted to go with this is I'm curious how this will sit on top of the powder. This is a very hydrating blush, if you will, water blush, I guess. That's why it's supposed to be very hydrating. And it feels very light on the face throughout the day. Actually, you barely even feel it, just like, you know, a really good blush. And how I like to wear it, because this is intense coral, I am getting a lot of pigment, but how I typically like to wear it is I may layer on a powder blush just to give it more concentration, I guess, like more color concentration. So let's see where we end up after I diffuse all of this. And for lips, I'm taking Chanel's Listral lipstick. This is their satin lipstick in the shade 814. All right, so this is the makeup look completed, and I would say Chanel's Eau de Blush in Intense Coral is an intense shade, just like the name implies. And I think I had like just too much on the right side of my cheek, and I went back in for some correction and put a little bit more of the pressed powder to just lighten everything up. And I always, when that happens, I always like the left side more. because there was less product to spread on the left side. The other shade that I picked up in this, I think it was a soft pink shade. That one is much easier to work with because it's less pigmented. And so even if you, I mean, I only use one pump, so with that one pump, it was just good, and there was less worry that I would get too much product. I'd like to try, once they actually launch this in the States, I'd like to try using or applying this and spreading it besides this awesome Sonia G. This is her mini base, which is good for liquids and creams. I like to use some other ways to try and spread this blush, including perhaps a sponge or some other brush that might have a lighter hand or is good at dealing with very pigmented products like this rougher brush here. This is number 31, and I use it for foundation, but I've had really good success using it to apply very pigmented cream blushes from Natasha Denona, so I might use this. Other than that, I would say everything looks set and in place. Nothing really to point out at this time. I'll do my first check-in shortly here, and then likely another one in the middle of the day, and then finally one that's like after I've had this on for at least 6+ hours. I'll see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, this is my first check-in, and I wanted to do something different this time. So I'm outside here, and let's come a little bit closer to see. I have been outside in stretches of 15 to 20 minutes, and it is a hot day. So I expected some of the makeup to come apart because I did sweat a little bit, but everything looks good. There is some breakdown on the sides of the nose, which is to be expected. So I want to see what happens now as my face continues to produce oil, especially as I get into the evening and I'm having dinner. So I'll definitely come back after I finish dinner in a few hours here and take a look. So it's been, let's see, 2 hours, 2.5 hours since I first put this on and completed the look. But yeah, I would say everything else looks intact. The face is, considering that I was sweating and outside and how hot it is today, I would say it's not all that tacky, and I think once the powder settles in, that tackiness that I initially felt has certainly kind of settled, and it's not much of an issue. I'll see you guys in a little bit. This is my final check-in. I'm ready to settle for the evening. I'm gonna come closer to see how everything is sitting on the face. So I didn't do any touch-ups other than lipstick because I did have dinner, and looking at overall, I would say everything's held together very well. One thing to take into consideration is how hot it is today, and I was out in the sun a few times for 15-20 minutes at a time walking, was in the sun, and so I probably look a little bit more dewy or oily than compared to other recent wear tests that I've done. And there is breakdown. The most obvious parts or the most noticeable parts would be the nose and under the eyes. Under the eyes, I would say it's about the same as the Kosas Cloud Set, but the nose right here, this side is worse. This is my trouble area. It's always going to be worse on the right side. You definitely see that it's pretty obvious. What I want to do for under the eyes is go back in for a application right now, because with the Kosas, I think in terms of holding in the concealer, they work about the same. But the Kosas powder, when you go back in for a touch-up, it immediately freshens up the area. So I'm curious if it's going to be similar with the Westman Atelier pressed powder. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's see here. I think it does help smooth things out a little bit. Anything that has been set into the lines is like a little bit smoother. You can see the difference between the right side and the left side. So yes, I think it does work. similarly to the Cloud Set. As for the comparison to my loose powder from Milk, I do think it holds together makeup just as well as Milk does. I was a little bit concerned because of this breakdown around the nose that maybe like a couple more hours after my second check-in or after my first check-in that I would see lines form here. And that is not the case, actually. No lines. In fact, it looks probably even smoother than with my Milk Loose Setting Powder. So I think the skincare this product is packed with does help with it. I don't know that I would necessarily say it extends makeup a lot longer than the Milk Loose Setting Powder, but I do think the skincare benefits, any hydration and just brightening effects that it has, we are seeing some of that for sure, especially in areas where there's a lot of movement when talking, eating, drinking, etc. And then finally, my last comment is going to be on the shade itself. I did not put any bronzer on, so what you're seeing, if some parts look a little bit lighter than usual, has to do with the translucent shade of this product. I will have to be mindful when I put this on and just know that, well, because of the shade, it's going to have some nice brightening effects. But if I put on too much, it's probably going to make my complexion look a little bit too fair, especially, as you can see, matched against my neck. As we get into warmer and warmer weather, this is going to be like more of a discrepancy, so I just have to keep that in mind. If you're considering this powder, I would say so far I do like it. I think we are seeing, or I have experienced, some of the skincare benefits that this product has. If you don't like that whitening or brightening effect that you're seeing on my face, I would go for the other shades. So you don't run into maybe situations where, hey, I want to put in another application, except it's going to make everything look even more fair, perhaps a little bit white cast. So going with one of the other shades available, I think it's going to prevent that. What else? Well, I'll definitely continue to try this powder and give you guys a fuller, more detailed update in the next did it work and how the products went type of video. Thank you guys for watching. I got tons of makeup backlog here with new stuff that I'm going to continue to create videos for. So I'll see you in the next one. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've watched to the end, subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and ring the bell to get notified every time new content is released. I review a lot of luxury makeup, clean beauty, luxury skincare, and luxury handbags. See you in the next one. Bye.